Welcome everybody. Today's topic is the life and story of LeBron James. I just want to clear the air about some of the attitudes about this guy. First thing first, I'm gonna have a shot of the LeBron James endorsed collector Hennessy and get started with this talk. I want to apologize for my man Al Wallace. Understand his flight was a little delayed, and I'm gonna give him an opportunity to go solo as well. I want to make sure we're fair. I'm gonna give him an opportunity for me to air this first or air his comment first. You know, what I'm speaking stands on its own. And I'm sure Al has a lot to say. I look forward to hearing from him. Have a safe travel, my friend. See you soon. We're going to talk about LeBron James, the life of a superstar at a very young age, and raised by a single mom who has done a phenomenal job of keeping him on track in spite of all the things that he could have got. He had a brand new Hummer in high school, attracting all kind of attention. And the only run-in that he had with that Hummer was the tag, that the temporary tag that goes on the back of it had fell off, and he had it in the front dash, and he got a citation as a result of that. Other than that, I think he had one other speeding ticket, and this here was when he was playing with Cleveland. He was coming back from a game um, out in Texas and got a speeding ticket trying to get home on his birthday. No excuses for it, but doing 101 miles per hour, you know, you're riding in a nice enough car, it's kind of hard to determine how fast you're going by the sound of the car, but needless to say, that is pretty much the extent of his brush in with the law. High school kid carrying a 3.4 average. I mean, and his childhood friends that they stayed huddled in his bedroom playing Madden and NBA 2K and ordering pizza, and his house being the chosen place to hang out at. The mama accommodating them, making them all feel welcome. I guess she was what you might refer to as the Kool-Aid mom. I just find the story to be really fascinating. And of course, he got in a little trouble before he graduated from high school. He accepted a jersey, what jersey was that? A Gale Sales jersey and West On Sale jersey. Now, how many kids would even know that a West On Sale jersey would be something to behold? But he agreed to take a picture in exchange for those jerseys, not truly understanding the consequences of it. And I'm sure if he did, he wouldn't have done it. You know, he was that kind of guy. Now, he went on to graduate from high school and had multiple offers from all kinds of colleges. And I've heard people say that he probably left high school early because he didn't have the grades, or he probably wasn't going to, you know, make it in college, which was totally ridiculous and totally unfound. And to go into the NBA, and only after 2 years of the NBA, he abandoned all the norms of licensing and and endorsements. He formed his own incorporation, LRL. I forgot the actual letters of the corporation that they formed. It was named after LeBron's Rick, Rich, Maverick, and Randy was the letters in the corporation that they formed. 3 years old, and I could argue that it ain't very many people out there at that age can't look, or at their age now, can't look back at some decisions or something that they said to a old girlfriend or a friend, or they said on a job that they wish they could do different. And that's one of them things he admittedly said that he would do something different if he had opportunity to. But my point is, once you go against the established norms, then there is a target on your back from then forward. LeBron bucked the system shortly after he came in the league, taking over his own license and endorsements, and then to go down to Miami, and 2 years after in Miami, he formed Clutch Sports. He and Rich Paul formed their own sports agency, and LeBron James was the first client himself. Now, since then, they have grown that agency at a level. This right here changes the norms and the money shifting from throughout the whole league. You got agents all over the world. It's not in their interest to see him do this. So they do these poison pills out there in the ethos to discredit him as a human being. Who in the hell think they got the right to say that, or compare him to going to another team as the standard of the quality of a championship? Now, there have been general managers and teams piecing together teams to win championship for years, and then you had the nerve to say that because he did it on his own. You still got to play basketball to win. Period. You got to play basketball, and that he did. So that don't diminish his wins. Now that has nothing to do with who was the best, but I'm just trying to give you an understanding of why is it that this poison pill has been planted to discredit this, and this is often seen that this is what it can to. It can to when during the Great Migration to the north that black people did. They did everything they could to discredit black people going to the north. Oh, they got monsters that lived under the ground and the tunnels and stuff up under the ground. The blood too thin, they couldn't survive the winters and yeah. But what it did was it interfered with the financial structures of the South, so they had to do everything. And believe it or not, there were more black people to help spread the rumors than it was white people. And this is what they're doing now. They don't want LeBron. The power structure do not want LeBron to shift the powers away from the owners. And I can tell you this, someday, as an owner, he's going to sit in the boardroom and make decisions that they're not going to be happy with his decisions, because it's going to further shift the power, maybe leading to more owners. I don't know. But I do know one thing, them not giving him a team, the rumors is Saudi Arabia is interested in teaming up with him to establish another league, much like they did with golf. and you start giving out those billions and millions of dollar contracts, LeBron will influence a lot of players to lead the NBA and lead the NBA standing, holding the ball. I need for people to understand that the behavior or what LeBron has demonstrated, pulling his friends along with him, is unprecedented. And the power structure of the NBA, they ain't feeling this at all. Trust me when I tell you, because they cut out a lot of middlemen that does it. So what they do is they use these algorithms, and of course, there is the social media company. They got this built in, and of course, the NBA knows just how to manipulate it. Even I, who stand on the side of LeBron James, because of my friends, like Al Wallace, for an example, every video that he finds on the internet about the GOAT, arguing that LeBron James is some kind of way don't measure up as a basketball player, it somehow ends up in his box, whether it be Instagram, Facebook, but the algorithms, they make sure that he get all the arguments there is to be had, and they manipulate it. Now, I'm not saying that he's not smart enough to understand this. And then the thing about these algorithms, they don't tell lies. What they do in subtle ways have you make you feel like some kind of way he's got an advantage, or some kind of way he's not honorable for going to another team, that he got some nefarious reason. But here's what I will tell you. Those guys that were playing video games in his room with him all got jobs with him. Rich Paul has a sports agent as a result of it. Randy has a job as the CEO. Then you got Willie McGee, who is the head of players personnel for the Lakers. And of course, he's been LeBron James' personal assistant for years. And of course, you got Drew, who in his own right, been coaching basketball. And who else we got? We got, Maverick Carter? Maverick Carter is the CEO of the cooperation. But the bottom line is they're all making money, man. He pulled them all up. And this guy built a school, literally putting his money where his mouth is at. This is a threat to the whole power structure. See, they criticize Bronny James for being on the team. Now, this kind of nepotism that I would argue that half of the people, that the viewing audience, didn't even know what that word was just a few years ago. Because really it didn't apply to people that didn't own anything, and largely black people. But I can tell you, in the NBA, this has been going on for years. And who wouldn't empower their friends and their family? It's ridiculous to say that he shouldn't. You saying that it's taking up a spot? Do you realize how many boardrooms, or even in the NBA, team owners have hired their relatives and friends throughout the organization? And people are outraged about getting Bronny a job on the bench. Giannis got his brother Been on Milwaukee bench for years. Now, hold on for a second. I'm going to get some information that I want to share with you. This information I'm sharing with you didn't come from me. Hold your horses. Okay, I want to play something for you. Now, this is artificial intelligence, and this does not have any bias or no agenda. It just explaining to you the history of the NBA and what they refer to as nepotism.
Calling out the obvious favoritism over more qualified G League players. 2. Coach and executive favoritism. Front office personnel and head coaches holding executive power have occasionally brought their own sons onto the team or into front office pipelines. Doc and Austin Rivers, LA Clippers. In 2015, Doc Rivers became the first head coach in NBA history to coach his own son after trading for Austin Rivers. While Austin was a former lottery pick and went on to have a legitimate 10-plus-year NBA career, the move, and his subsequent contract extension under his father, caused significant tension and perceptions of favoritism within the Clippers locker room. Rod and Corey Higgins, Charlotte Bobcats. When Rod Higgins was president of basketball operations for the Charlotte Bobcats, the team signed his son, Corey Higgins. Corey played 44 games for Charlotte before moving on to a successful career in Europe. Ryan Saunders, Minnesota Timberwolves. Nepotism extends to the bench as well. Ryan Saunders was named head coach of the Timberwolves in 2019, following in the footsteps of his late father, longtime NBA coach Flip Saunders. 3. Legacy draft picks and ties. Drafting or signing the son of a franchise legend or Hall of Famer to honor legacy is another long-standing tradition. Patrick Ewing Jr. Drafted by Kings, signed by Knicks. Patrick Ewing's son was drafted in 2008 and later spent time in the Knicks system, largely riding the goodwill and legacy built by his Hall of Fame father in New York. Kobe Karl, George Karl's son, played briefly for the Lakers and Cavaliers while his father was a prominent head coach in the league. Why teams choose connections over G League stars. As you noted, the talent gap between the 15th player on an NBA bench and the top player in the G League or EuroLeague is often paper thin. When NBA teams fill those final 2 or 3 roster spots, pure on-court talent is rarely the only variable. 1. Star retention. Giving a 1.5 M-2M end-of-bench contract to a superstar's brother or son is a cheap price to pay if it keeps a $50 million a year superstar happy and loyal. 2. Locker room chemistry. Teams often value a trusted, low-maintenance personality who accepts never playing over a hungry G League player who might become disgruntled over lack of playing time. 3. Business and marketing. In the case of Bronny and LeBron, the historical novelty of the first father-son duo playing together created massive media coverage, jersey sales, and broadcast interest for the franchise. Ultimately, the NBA is both a meritocracy at the top and a relationship-driven business at the bottom. While nepotism gets players through the front door, history shows that only those with actual NBA-level skill stick around.
Now, that there is just a drop in the bucket because we got this in other professional sports, notably football. Kyle Shanahan, Bill Belichick, Buddy Ryan. I mean, the Shulers. I mean, there's so many examples of nepotism that has taken place in sports. For the idea that LeBron is criticized in a such way that is almost anger that they doing somebody else an injustice. Do you realize how many just jobs that people got because their parents own the company? For you to say that he got a job because of his daddy that is taking a job away from somebody else, you realize how ridiculous that is? I mean, who wouldn't hire their son, a child, a daughter, or whatever? If I could influence them, man, fire departments, police departments. My goodness, man, why do y'all have to hate this man like you do? Honestly, I don't get it. Now, just from a pure basketball perspective, if you care to know, check his stats from the age of 20 to 25 compared to LeBron James. You'll be surprised of how close those numbers are. Now, I know from watching the game that Michael Jordan, at his very best, I have yet to see somebody that good. And man, I've seen them up close. I witnessed a duel between him and Dominique Wilkins in the Omni in Atlanta. I think it was in '88. But man, I think Dominique had 41 and Michael had 38. I saw Jordan fake the ball over Doc Rivers' head, and Doc Rivers fell flat over his butt. Jordan stepped over him and rose up and dunked on Tree Rollins, a 7'2" center. Man, Jordan was fearless, man. I love Jordan. I love watching him play. And I also remember the criticism that he had. Oh, he's a firehead. He would never be as good as Magic and Bird. Now, he's not going to win a championship because he's not, And of course, I also remember Jordan having to fight through just getting to the championship, going through the Boston Celtics and the Detroit Pistons. He had to have some growing pain. And LeBron James had the Cavaliers, in championship games, man, at a very young age. You know, how many championships have he been to? I mean, I know he lost a few, but man, when do going to a championship some kind of way disqualify you? I mean, or going to another team literally disqualify you for your performance. We're talking about performance, not you going to another team. Now back to the part about it's kin to people going north. You know, it's a ridiculous to even make that as an argument. Stop the hating, man. I mean, just leave it, let it go. Why is there so much hate toward this man? I look at the expressions on your face, the conversation that you bring, and let's talk about some of the good things that he's done. Let's do that. And let's talk about some of the players in the league who passed up the opportunity to play with him. Now, just because they're professional athletes and worth millions don't mean that they have a good understanding of history and the challenge of power structures. You take Kyrie Irving for an example, leaving Cleveland because some agent or someone in his ear telling him that you are never going to be the leader of the team. You're going to play second fiddle to LeBron. You deserve your own team. Now, I would argue that had he stayed with that team and possibly won multiple championships with LeBron, and perhaps LeBron's influencing him business-wise, or possibly influencing him, conditioning himself, it may have served him better. But no, the league and the power structure made sure they got in his ear to convince him that he should be a superstar in his own right, only to go right to New Jersey and team up with Kevin Durant. But he was so afraid that LeBron loomed too large. I can say that same thing about Kevin Durant himself, Kawhi Leonard. They have done everything to put a poison pill that he's selfish and he's ball dominant. Every excuse in the world to keep players down. I believe that Steph Curry was never threatened by that, and Draymond. These guys are comfortable with who they are. They don't need to feel like they're the star. Uh, then the league has, I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there, they have a problem with very highly intelligent, bright guys that could change the structure. And I'm going to give you another, Jaylen Brown, for an example. The league is way too uncomfortable with him. Now, you're giving him a choice give the Boston Celtics a choice between Jaylen Brown, you know, versus God, what's the player named? Holy crap! Now, see, this is what I was concerned. Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum. They're gonna choose Jason Tatum every time because Jason Tatum is not a threat intellectually. He's not going to influence people around him. Jaylen Brown took one little bad comment about this was his favorite season and it was completely taken out of context. And not to mention the fact he had been tossed around as trade rumors for ever since he's been there with the Boston Celtics. Now, anybody with any sense knows that Jaylen Brown was the best player. He won the most valuable player in the championship. He led that team to this past season. He was in the running for the MVP. It's clearly that he is equal to, if not better than Jason Tatum. And I would argue that he's actually a better player than Jason Tatum when you look at the all around thing. But Jason Tatum fit in that box. And let me just be honest with you. He's a good looking, bright skinned guy. He's more marketable. He's more suitable for a company, like State Farm or whoever, AT&T or whatever media that he's with. Jason Tatum, that dark skinned brother with that beard and smart, you know, they see him as a threat, as they do LeBron, because not only they're a threat to the league, but they're a threat to influence other people like them to rise up. I ain't got to tell you about the history of what happened to young men who show a lot of promise and influence. It's a lot of dead ones in the ground. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be killed, but I'm just telling you the sustained campaign and algorithm to discredit LeBron James is real. And some of the people that are helping promote this bullshit need to stop and check yourself. This is a good guy. He's a great father, a billionaire, a great businessman who pulled his childhood friends up, was raised by a single mama. He is one of the greatest American stories ever. And for somebody to say anything about him negative, no gambling, no drug addiction, no womanizing, no rape charges, just a great guy. What the hell are y'all thinking, man, being that critical of this guy? Man, if I had a son, I would want him to be like LeBron James. Give me a break. I don't know whether I covered everything. I don't know. But it's been fun getting some of the things off my chest. But about once a year, I buy a pair of signature shoes. And for the last 10 years, they've been all LeBron James. I just haven't found. Now, I am planning on buying me a pair of those Angel Reese Barbie tennis shoes. Matter of fact, I'm looking forward to getting me a pair of those. Angel Wilson. I'm sorry. Angel Wilson. Okay. Mm. Ah, now that's how I feel about LeBron.